Probably it takes as long as to drink 2 Bloody Marys to by the time the eggs are done.
It was just a family business. It's where my father worked, where my Uncle Francis and my Uncle Leslie worked, where my male cousins worked when they were old enough to hold a job.
Where else can you buy an item for 20 bucks that can cook anything and everything and last a lifetime?
This is a hammered finish. This is a unique skillet that Bob may be bringing back into production. If you can see the finish there. Here's one that doesn't have a name on it, made by the Hunter molding equipment. This one has a Y for the molder mark. This one we can't see the molder's mark on. Yeah, if you go to any restaurant anywhere and they've got a piece of cast iron that has the teardrop handle, not like this one, you immediately want to pick it up and look to see what's on the bottom. Does it say Lodge or is it somebody else?
There were other brands making cast iron at the turn of the century, and there were other brands that were selling it, but Lodge was consistent, and they kept making it. And they didn't stop making it. It starts at the foundry and with the family, and it starts in town, and it really emanates from there. And I think if you talk to home cooks and if you talk to professional cooks, they feel the same love for Lodge.
They're rooted in tradition. They have that quality that's been around, and you know you can trust it, and the future generations are discovering it.
Joseph Lodge was born in 1848 in eastern Pennsylvania. Joseph Lodge married Anna Elizabeth Harvey in 1877. They had 2 children. Richard Leslie Lodge, born in 1883. His older sister was Edith Harvey Lodge. She married Charles Richard Kellerman in 1908. Now, Richard Leslie married Aunt Betty in England, and they had 2 children, twins, John and Beth. John grew up to be an Episcopal priest. He had 4 children, one of whom is Henry Lodge, who's working at Lodge today as CEO.
I got a call from my cousin, Dick Kellerman, the founder, and he said, we just fired our shipping clerk. You know how to do that job. Get your, you know what, down here. And I said, okay, I'm coming, but I'm not staying.
I had spent my childhood years down at the foundry on Saturday mornings. We would go down to the office with my father and watch Sky King and black and white TV and get Cokes for a nickel, and worked in the summers at the foundry loading trucks. That's back before we even put skillets in a box. We ran a piece of wire down through the handle and threw them on the truck. So I wanted to build our brand back since my early 20s.
I guess just over a pretty short period, I fell in love with what I was doing. I fell in love with the people I was doing it with and with the company as a whole, and I felt a tie to it, and never really seriously considered anything else after a few months of that.
This is a good place. You can kind of look inside the machine and see how it works. What happens when we make the mold, there's a piston that goes in and out of the machine. And on that piston is mounted one side of the pattern. And there's also what we call a swing plate that drops down and closes. And it's got the other side of the pattern on it. Sand is blown down from above into that cavity and then compressed very hard. These machines can make about 400, well, between 380 and 400 molds per hour. And this is Bubba's Kingdom. You can control. We put iron in this autopour, and it fills it up, and then when we want to pour the iron out, we apply air pressure, and the iron goes out into the pouring trough. When that mold gets in the right position, then the autopour will automatically let iron slow down into the mold. But if anything needs to be adjusted, Bubba will take care of it. Thank you, Bubba.
Anybody in the production line can pull a piece off the line if they think there's a flaw in it. It may be a blemish as small as a pinhead in the surface of the skillet. It's the Joe Lodge legacy. You do a good job at what you're doing.
It does, looking back, seem like somewhat of an overnight success. What I've always heard about success is it's when preparation meets opportunity, and we were prepared. We realized that if we could season our product before we put it in a box, it would be a huge advantage, not necessarily a competitive advantage, but people would not have to worry about, well, I don't want to buy cast iron because I got to do this stuff to it. We were not prepared for how fast we grew. We were prepared for the market to embrace us. It did in a much bigger way than we expected.
Almost all the media wanted to tell the story of here's this cast iron cookware company in Tennessee that's been making cookware for 120 years and now they've revolutionized cast iron and they've made it much easier for you. A bunch of chefs have come out of the South, done lots of exciting things with Southern cuisine all over the country. And now it is probably the most sought after kind of chef food around. It's just all of a sudden become way cool.
As trends changed and as people started looking to aluminum and looking to stainless steel, you know, I think one of the things that's been great about Lodge is that they've just been consistent. And now there's a whole cast iron craze happening and you know, they're building new foundries to support the business. But I think it speaks to their steadiness and the durability of their product that they never went away.
I don't think the company was ever about making money per se. I think we've been about, and hope we still are about, providing a good, honest, steady job to the people in this area and helping to support 300-400 families at any one time over the years. With Bob running sales and marketing and me running operations, over the years it went back and forth. Bob, we've got plenty of production, get your butt busy and get us some sales. And he'd do that to the point where he'd go, okay, Henry, we got more sales than we can produce, get me some production. So Bob, and we've had... the burden is back on you now. Never entered my mind that in our lifetimes we would be able to build a greenfield foundry.
I know.
And,
it gives me goosebumps every time I'm out there. What changes? New equipment, more capacity, better packaging. And when I think about the tens of thousands of hours that have gone into, you know, the manpower, the brain power, the technology out here in the new foundry, it's just mind-boggling.
It was sort of my job to try and make cast iron hip again. And so 16 years later, I think we did. Now if we can just keep it there.
I think we're going to grow. I think we've had a really sharp increase in the last few years. Don't expect that to continue, but I think cast iron has been around for a lot of years. It's getting so popular, there are a lot of competitors out there. But again, if we focus on how do we make sure we can take care of our employees with solutions that work in the marketplace, we'll find things we don't even know about today that are going to help keep our company going. If Joe Lodge came back today, he would have one of two reactions. Wow, I never imagined that the little company I started would grow into this, and he would be excited and pleased, or he'd come back and he'd say, what have you done to my nice little company? What have you done to it? It's huge, it's taking over, it's doing all these. So I hope it would be the former, not the latter. I think he'd be pleased.
To deal with people that you trust and that you know come to the table every day with a really good business and fair business sense is an honor.